summer. You gotta keep you on your toes.
So you played with Will Horcroft's dad.
I did.
And Will is probably, I don't know how tall he was. What do you kind of remember about seeing Will around the rink, and then what are you getting as an organization in him now?
Yeah, I think that 1 year in particular, we had Blake Fiddler and Will Horkoff, and they both just went through the draft cycle, so it was great to see them through the combine. With Will, he was a rink rat. He's always been a rink rat. I think that's one of the benefits of being the son of a NHL player is you get to be around. So Will's very comfortable, around the arena. I think his love for the game is like something that stands out. He's always working on his game. I'm still kept in touch with Sean, so know quite a bit about Will's path and how things have gone. And it's great to see him here, but it's also, see how important everything is and how, serious he is about everything. So it's nice to have the connection, but, Will's a great player, and that didn't really factor into why we have him here.
Will could turn pro for you, I guess, this coming season. Any talk to sending him to Wilkes-Barre if he doesn't make the NHL club?
No, Will be going back to Michigan for sure. He won't even be at training camp.
Okay.
He'll be going back to Michigan, and they have a good development system there. He went there halfway through the year, so he won't be at NHL camp as with the other college guys. Will be back in Michigan next year.
Ilyan, what's the plan for him next season, and just what are you getting in him?
Yeah, Ilyan's, it's great to have him over here. It's, been, a lot of work trying to just get with visas and everything and get him here. He missed the first few days. He took a bit of a step last year, which is great. He's going to go back to the KHL again next year. But we have him under contract now, so we anticipate the year following that he'll come. I think with Mikhail, just to get him here, I think, and for him to kind of feel the environment is really important. So it's great that he's been able to make it, and he's playing pro over there. So I think he'll be, learn from what he has here, and then go over there and have another good year and get him over.
Cruz Lucius, I think he missed basically the first half of the year.
Yeah.
Just how did he bounce back from that, and just where's his development compared to when you guys first acquired him in the trade?
Yeah, I say, it was probably not the best year for him in terms of trying to get up to speed after missing all that time. So, we're really looking forward to it. I think Cruz is really looking forward to him having a full off season. He's worked really hard. He stayed in Arizona at school there, put in the time. He's going to have more of a leadership role, bigger role there. So I think, it's tough for any of these guys when they miss the start of the season and try to join the team halfway. And I think that he's really going to benefit from a good off season.
What'd you make of Univice? Obviously, great end result there, winning the national title, and that. Just what you make of his season?
Yeah, Jona's a guy that we were really high on, draft +2 guy that we saw a lot of potential in. Great feel for the game, in a good spot at Western Michigan where they teach the details really well. And Pac does a good job teaching them how to defend, and Jona defends really well, angling, skating forward, and I think that benefited him. And he's got a quiet confidence to him, and I think that showed. And to be a part of a championship team and log the minutes he did, it was a great year for him. And he's the guy that's looking to push and taking even on a bigger role, there with the club this year. But great season. We like when our players are part of winning teams.
You got a few weeks with Harrison Brunick in Wilkes last
Yeah.
season. How close is he to the NHL? And I guess you could get him in the AHL again.
No, we can't.
Can't?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's has to go another year.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how close is he to the NHL?
He will tell us how close he is through training camp. I think Harrison knows the task at hand, and that he had a great camp last year. And then, at Wilkes, it was, I think, a great learning curve for him to come and have a little bit of the struggles early on there the first few weekends, and then to see his game blossom. And he was, probably a guy that got hurt the most by us losing, in the first round. His game was really coming on, and he's a guy that I think is really looking to push and take a step and make some noise in camp, but he'll be the one that dictates how ready he is.
Tanner Howe, though, does have the option of AHL.
Tanner Howe can play, yes. Yeah.
Do you know what the plan is for him?
Yeah,
given
Tanner
that
Howe
he's-
will be in Wilkes. He's coming back from injury, so he'll miss a good chunk of the season to start. We'll take things slow with him with the injury that he had. It's important that he's 100% healthy, but yeah, he'll be in Wilkes next year. When he'll be back from the injury is a little more up in the air based on how he's feeling, and we won't rush him either. It's a young kid. You want to make sure the rehab goes smooth, and just put it behind him.
Chase Pietola, I hope I said that correctly.
Yep.
made the jump this past spring. What did you see in the handful of games between Wilkes and Wheeling?
Yeah, I think he got a lot of experience at the end of the year. I think the guys that the benefit to them getting to play at the end of the year last year is they feel the level. So I think that he should have a bit of a leg up in terms of understanding what things are about. It's not all going to be new for him. So it's great experience when they can come and play games and be a part of things. He went down to Wheeling, played a lot of minutes, and was really assertive in his game. So he's going to be a guy that comes. We're going to have good competition at Wilkes, just like we will here in Pittsburgh. So it's great, and that's what you want as an organization. And but he's a guy we have a lot of belief in.
Speaking of competition in Wilkes, already some depth signings made for the organization and free agency. As you continue to kind of round out the organizational depth chart, what kind of players are you guys looking for to continue to add here?
Yeah, I think you want competitive players. I think when you deal with American League depth, it's a little bit different. You're trying to kind of project out what the team may look like. You want to make sure that you have guys that will push, and culture is really important at that level. And I think that the lineup changes, as weekly, daily. So just bringing in guys that are going to have a lot of the core values that we want in players is important. So we've kind of gone with a mix of guys through free agency and college signings, and you just try to build out your depth that way and find guys that you feel like have a chance as well.
This week we spoke with Wes Clark, and he asked him about Gabriel Daig. I hope I said that correctly.
Yeah.
He said John Elkin was one to really push for him.
Yeah.
Gabriel played on a team that wasn't very good, at least by record last year. When you see a goalie who's behind maybe a team that struggles, what do you garner from that in terms of how he manages like a lot of lows, I guess, in a situation like that?
Yeah, I think he had a ton of work. I think we rely on John for our goaltending evaluation. We're not all sitting around trying to be goaltending experts. It would take a lot of time, and so you have the goaltending guys that handle that. But with Gabe, what I'd say is he got thrust into a situation where he played a ton. Played it basically every night on a bad team and got faced with a lot of shots. And I think now that we have him, in the roost, we're going to try to, really help him with his technicals game. The athleticism and size is there, and now it's just kind of building his game up with some structure. And I think the team will probably take a step next year, which will help him, and we'll just keep chipping away.
Have you set a plan for Wilkes goaltending, or how it affects the NHL roster yet?
No, we're too early into, the players sorted out in camp. So, we don't go in with really much of a, when it comes to competition like that, when you have guys that are on entry-level deals that can go up and down easily, not waiver, don't need waivers, it creates a true competition because there's no other factors. So, no, we haven't. Yeah.
Two other guys, I think Graham and Devlin, injured in camp, or coming to camp injured. Do you expect them to be available by the start of their respective seasons?
Yeah, that's the hope.
Gotcha.
Max has been new to the organization at the deadline and worked really hard, been great with his communication with his injury, coming back from a tough injury. So there'll be an adjustment, but he's probably close to being ready. We just take it easy with a guy like that. No need to rush him into anything in the middle of the summer. And same with Luke. He's had a really rough year last year injury-wise. So it's just more out of abundance of caution to make sure that they are up and running when the season starts.
Ditto with Zam Plant as well.
Yeah. No, Zam needs time still.
Okay,
He's coming off surgery. He's got a little longer in his recovery to go. Yeah.
Thanks, Spez.